So it's not every day that we get to experience an older game as if it was just released yesterday. But thanks to some smarty pants modders out there, we've been able to do just exactly that with one of our most favourite games of all time. So of course, we had to talk about it. Now all the way back in 2004, a company called Valve changed the face of FPS games altogether with the release of the game Half-Life 2. Now I can remember being a young gamer and loading up Steam for the first time and clicking on that install and getting that game installed and being absolutely blown away with just the first sequence. Half-Life 2 not only brought a new perspective to how games should be played, but it also brought a new perspective when it came to physics and graphics, and it was just absolutely amazing. Now that game was one of the games that actually changed my life in terms of gaming. I was always after the next first-person shooter game that actually brought a real in-depth story along. And I really don't think anything's actually come close, so I generally actually play this game quite a lot. But after a while, obviously games can get a little bit boring. In the terms of Half-Life 2, I'm never actually bored of it. I can replay that game over and over again. I just love it. But it does come a little bit stale when you know where everything is and exactly where to go. So as soon as I saw what modders were doing out there in terms of really giving this game an experience upgrade, I had to get involved, and that's exactly what I did. And quite luckily, it was just after I bought a VR headset. That's right, modders have brought VR to Half-Life 2. Now originally when I saw this announcement, I thought that maybe they were just gonna upgrade a little bit and you would get just the ability to kind of just look around. But that's not it at all. They've actually done a fantastic job and a really polished job of getting that game working really well with VR. It's like a totally new experience altogether. Now, of course, if you're new to the game and you haven't played it, you won't know anything about what I'm talking about. But if you have played it in the past and you liked it as much as I did, obviously this is really going to speak to you. Now, there's no point me just talking about the game. We actually need to show you what we mean. And to do that, we've got our VR headset back out. We've got our stands up here with the cameras because we are using an older model Rift. We've got our controllers and we've got our headset. And we've got the game loaded up on our studio gaming system. So let's get our headset on and take you for a tour. So now that we're in the game, obviously we can start looking around, and even just in the menu, it's given us a totally different experience. We go down to here, we'll load up a game. We didn't get that far through on the playthrough on this system, but we'll show you what we're talking about. Once we're in game, obviously we can see that we've got a totally different experience. We've now got hands and we can actually see what we're doing. We've got our stats on our left hand and we've got a crowbar in our right. Now when I talk about bringing a new experience to the Half-Life game, of course, it's not just in the way that we can see things, because that actually has brought a totally new dynamic. We can just look all around and I think it's just absolutely amazing. But not just that, it's also given us a new dynamic when it comes to things like weapons. So instead of the standard old animation of a crowbar, we can actually do whatever we want. We can swirl this thing round, which makes the game totally different to play when you're actually trying to fight things. So we'll just go through this bar here. It's also great that they've upgraded it so that we can produce different types of power. So if we swing even harder, things will break even quicker. And I just think that again brings a new dynamic to the game. Now the controls for this are not that easy to get used to, not to begin with, but after a while it really is. And again, I probably look like an absolute idiot playing this, but it really does bring a perspective. And we'll just get out of here really quick. Now, of course, they haven't really changed the game that much in terms of how you play it, because things are pretty much the same. The whole level design, everything is exactly the same. I've just fallen off now, so we're going to have to go back round. They have put interactive ladders in, so you can actually climb up things. We'll get over here and we'll try to get a gun. Now in a minute we should be able to get a weapon, and actually the weapon control systems are really good and changed in this. We can actually interact with things that are on the wall. We don't need any health, we got 100%. Go around here, let's help these guys. Oh, there's the gun. So it can be a little bit awkward sometimes with the controls, particularly if you're sitting down. But we'll switch to the gun, and now we can see on the gun we've got this holographic ammo system just on the side, shows us how much we've got. We can also do that, whatever that is. So now that we've got our gun, again, it's going to bring a totally new dynamic because we can aim, we can shoot, which wasn't as very good in the original game. It wasn't the same really, because obviously you were just pointing at wherever the cursor was, but in this one, we've got a totally different experience. There's also one thing that I noticed, that you don't tend to pick things up by walking over them, you actually have to pick them up. For some reason that's not loading up our suit, but that's fine. So we'll go around and we'll find some more. It's not that simple to go, but obviously we're out of ammo now, and instead of having automatic reload like in the other game, what we have to do is we have to pop out the clip, pull a new clip from your shoulder and insert it into the gun, and then we should be good to go. Collecting ammo as well, you can't just do it by walking over things, you actually have to pick it up, which again brings a new dynamic to it, which is really cool. We can actually look round corners now, so we don't actually have to have the enemy, and you can also shoot from around corners too. Get on this train. Now it can feel sometimes a little bit disorientating, but it's not that bad. They've actually done a fantastic job with this game. You do need to make sure you've got lots of space to play it though. One of the things that we've found is you have to kind of reach quite far for things, but that's not too bad. We can cope with it. Now this game really did excite me because it really does allow me to kind of live in the world of the Half-Life's world, which is really good. Let's just get out of here for a minute. Now I've not played this game standing up, so I'm not 100% sure how well it works on that. I've actually got it in seated mode, which I'm really happy that they did that, because I tend to play games sitting down more than anything. But I do really think that it's taken a lot of stuff from Half-Life Alyx and just applied it to Half-Life 2 really. But again, they've done a fantastic job of it. I've not actually had any issues with the game in terms of performance. Now this is currently running on our studio gaming system, which is something that we've swapped around recently and includes an i5 10400F, so that's a 6-core 12-thread processor. It's not the strongest of the 10 series, but it's pretty decent. It's got 16 gig of RAM. Running out of ammo. You have to remember to do that thing on the top, otherwise it won't load. Finding ammo in the game is a little bit annoying if you don't remember to pick it up. And the graphics card we are using is what they classify as one of the minimum specs for this game in VR, which is a GTX 1060 6GB. And as you can see, it runs perfectly fine. Now Half-Life 2 in its normal format will pretty much run on anything, and we've proved that on the channel a number of times before, particularly with our no GPU versus Half-Life 2 series. But in VR it takes a little bit more power. It requires a little bit more grunt from a graphics card, and it's doing perfectly fine. Even on the minimum specs, really, it's doing pretty well. Now, swimming can be a little bit of an awkward one because it actually swims in the direction that you look, and sometimes you forget to do it. You're trying to jump to get up there, but apart from that, we're looking pretty good. Now, if you want to get up ladders even quicker, what you have to do is go back to your hands, so no weapon at all, and start gripping them. Now this is because it's on like realistic experience. You can do it where you're just using the controller to do it, but I just felt that this was actually way better. Just being able to look around all of the characters and interact the way you need to is just absolutely fantastic. Now we're not going to give you any more spoilers of this game. This is just a bit of a taster, and if you're a big Half-Life 2 fan, you are definitely going to want to play this. And like I said before, this is playing on one of the early version Rifts, and it looks fantastic, so you don't even need to spend a lot to be able to do it. Now that is our quick look at Half-Life 2 VR, and if you are a big fan, you will definitely want to play this. It has brought a completely new perspective to the game for us, and we're just going to end up replaying it over and over again, just like we did with the original, but now we're going to be doing it in VR. I very much suspect all they've done is actually apply a lot of the Half-Life Alyx stuff over the top, which is fantastic for us too, because we have recently just purchased it because it's actually on sale in Steam at the moment. And we're really looking forward to Alyx if it plays as well as that. If you've played Half-Life 2 in VR, let us know in the comments below what your experience is so far. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you like this kind of content, because I'm pretty sure we're going to be bringing more. Don't forget to like this video, and we'll catch you in the next one.